Coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Hi, I'm Jessie Peck, bass singer for the legendary Spinners R&B group.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Moss, the tenor, one of the tenors in the fabulous Spinners.
All right, welcome to the Big Island. I'm Steve Roby from Big Island Music Magazine, and your show is going to go on in a couple hours here. How does it feel to be here in Hawaii?
Well, there are several ways or things that we have to think about before answering that. First, the location, which is very beautiful. Then the people, just as beautiful. Not to mention the fact that we're excited to be here and so glad to be back out and on the road again after the pandemic experience that we've all, had to endure and go through. So it's a beautiful venue, and again, we're ready and we're excited and we're fired up to give a fantastic show tonight. You have no idea.
All right, great. So let's talk about the Spinners, the history of the Spinners. Why is the Spinners music so important?
Well, it brings a lot of love, a lot of great lyrics, a lot of just good loving thoughts, and that's what we try to push, and we keep the tradition going.
And along with that, there are lots of memories or things that come back to mind, even from my childhood. You hear a Spinner song, you can't help but go back to yesteryear and think about that first kiss or growing up in life. Even the first time you scrape your knee, or mom and dad and loving on you. There are lots of beautiful things. Our music comes from a simpler and happier time.
Amen to that. All right. So along the way, have you picked up some new fans, some younger fans? Do you get some reaction from them?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, as a matter of fact,
Yes,
we
sir.
have. It's wonderful to see kids, see young folks coming out and enjoying the show. It blows my mind. You see the kids who are forced to come to the concert, and you can tell they're sitting in the front row with their parents with their arms folded, and by the second or third song, they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" And then they're clapping and they're dancing in the aisle. We've even had a few instances where those same kids were, by the end of the show, Ronnie, on stage with us and dancing.
On the stage, and we had one. I remember not too long ago, we had one young. I would say one young lady, one young girl. She cried and cried, and she loved the Spinners. Yeah. And I know it had to come from her mom, dad, grandparents, or whatever. And you would have thought that somebody made her cry. And we took a picture with her, and she was just in awe.
Oh yeah. She was totally amazed, and it was great for us to see. Of course, we have older fans, of course, but to see people younger than even the millennials who are so touched by us, as if they're seeing Michael Jackson or Elvis, to shed a tear, at the sight of the Spinners. It's like, wow, it's just an incredible moment for us.
That kind of leads into my next question, which is there one particular show during the time that you've been with the Spinners that stands out for you?
You go first, Ronnie.
Well, I mean, there's several. We do a lot of fantastic shows. One I always talk about is we did the one in Boston at the on the island.
I can't think of that island, but yeah, we had to ride the ferry over.
We had to ride the ferry
island,
over.
yeah.
It was Nantucket.
Nantucket, yes.
We did that show with the Boston Symphony Orchestra.
Yes, we did with Boston Pops, and they were awesome.
I would never ever forget that. Never ever forget that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Can you talk a little bit about how Stevie Wonder and Aretha Franklin really helped launch the career of the Spinners?
Yeah, it was the launch of, it was an adrenaline shot to the career of the Spinners, as well as an end to their time at Motown. As many of you already know, when the Spinners were at Motown, they were working at Motown, and by working I mean in the room where they did the mail, driving around. They drove Berry Gordy's mom. Yeah. Bobby Smith went to pick up the Jackson 5 when they landed in Detroit when they were first coming into Motown, and the Spinners weren't getting a lot of love. Berry Gordy was focused on groups like The Temptations, Diana Ross, and finally Stevie Wonder. He kind of threw a fit one day, and he's a Motown favorite. He threw a fit one day. Hey, I wrote this song. It's been sitting on the shelf for 2-3 years. Let's get it out. So finally, that song was put out. That song's called "It's a Shame." It goes out. It's on the radio. It's blowing up, and At the same time, Aretha Franklin, who was at Atlantic Records, she calls the Spinners, like, honey, y'all need to come here. Things is great. Life is wonderful, blah, blah, blah. And the Spinners made their transition to Atlantic Records as It's a Shame on Motown Records was being released. So imagine Berry Gordy in his office saying, oh, I see we've got another hit. Who is that? And they say, oh, it's the Spinners. He says, well, get them in here. And they're like, it's too late. They're gone. And the rest is history. That's where the Motown Philly phrase was coined. They were from Motown. Now they're in Philadelphia at Atlantic Records, and that's where most of the major hits from the Spinners came to life was with Atlantic Records. And even Berry Gordy, to this day, in the book that he wrote, his autobiography, he said the one thing that he regrets is that he didn't spend more time with the Spinners. Imagine that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, tell me about the show today at the Kahilu Theatre. You brought with you a 4-piece band. Who are the guys backing you?
Oh my God, we've got an awesome group of musicians, and I love having these guys behind us. They're very reliable. They're just awesome and very gifted musicians. Rocky Hinton, who's a very seasoned lead guitarist and a very critical part of the show. And these guys are our friends as well. We have Ibrahim Jones, who is a newer member of the group. He plays bass guitar. He's classically trained, but I mean, again, very highly skilled. I mean, you have to be with a group of this caliber. Our drummer, David Brandon, Captain Thunder, I've dubbed him. He's been with the Spinners for decades. And the only one who's been in the band for longer than David Brandon would be our musical director, Keith Ferguson. And I mean, Keith goes way back with the Spinners, and he's an awesome leader of the band. Great on keyboards, and having these guys, and yeah, it's a 4-piece band, but it feels so full when these gentlemen begin to play behind us each and every night. They're always on cue. They're always on point. They're extremely reliable. We call them the Spinners Ensemble.
All right.
Yes.
Right. What is the rest of the year look like for you? Are you guys still touring or going
Yes,
around the world?
very full.
Busier than
We
ever.
have last year was, well, we came out of the pandemic the year before, and then we kind of sporadically started doing shows last year, and it picked up, and so now this year has been wonderful. We're booked through this year and half of next year.
Serious.
It's nice to be able to see that again. It is.
Where's the best place for fans listening to this? Can pick up your music, find out where you're on tour?
The best place would be our website. That would be thespinners.com. Feel free to go onto our page. You can see our schedule as well as pick up Spinner merchandise, our latest CD, Round the Block and Back Again. And there's another CD on its way as well. So make sure you.
You're working on some new material?
Oh,
We're done.
It's worked on.
done.
They're doing the mixing on the second CD right now, and that should be out within a matter of months. So
What's it called?
we haven't decided on the name for that one yet. But the current CD is Round the Block and Back Again. But we're still putting our heads together on what we're going to call the second CD release.
Right. That's coming when?
Again, in a matter of months. I can't pin down the exact date, but we're finalizing and doing the last mixes on those songs right now. But it'll be at thespinners.com. And if you're a Facebooker, we took over Facebook from the kids. It belongs to the adults now. On Facebook, we are The Spinners. So feel free to go onto that page as well, and you can see our concert dates, and you can pick up music as well.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your time here at the Kahilu Theatre, and I hope we get a chance to explore the island a little bit too.
I hope so too. We got in just enough time to barely get our hotel rooms, and now it's time for sound check, and we've got to get ready for the show. That's the most important thing, but we're not leaving until later tomorrow night, so we want to take in the beach.
Definitely.
We want to enjoy our fans who are here to see us, and just really make the most of our time here on the island. So.
Definitely.
Well, thank you, and as we say here in Hawaii, mahalo.
Mahalo.
Yeah, right. Take care. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right.
That was easy.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.